speak with the Chinese. We have a framework for a TikTok deal. The two leaders, President Trump and Party Chair Xi, will speak on Friday to complete the deal, but we do have a framework for a deal with TikTok.
When do we get to see the framework?
Mr. Secretary, this morning you said that there were some aggressive asks from the Chinese side on TikTok. Did you have to make any concessions to get to a deal, and if so, what were those concessions?
We had very good discussions. We preferred to keep the discussions on TikTok. We will be holding trade negotiations in about a month, again at a different location. But we talked about many things that we might do in the future.
Mr. Secretary, will you reach a trade deal with China before the APEC meeting at the end of October?
That remains to be seen. And it remains to be seen whether we will meet with them before the APEC meeting or after.
What happens with the algorithm for TikTok? Does it become U.S. owned, or who will own it?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the commercial terms of the deal. It's between two private parties, but the commercial terms have been agreed upon. We discussed a wide range of issues. I'll let Ambassador Greer.
I would say the thing that is notable about this, and it may not seem, this is like touching my chest, thanks. The thing that is notable about this is the great and deep respect that we have for each other. It's no secret that there are serious issues on trade, economics, national security between the United States and China. And I think we saw in the last administration, talks had essentially ceased. There were no channels. I mean, the fact is we could take a very challenging and prickly issue like the TikTok divestment and come to an agreement really within, a couple of days. Obviously, there were months and weeks before this, but to be able to come, sit down, quickly identify the issues, narrow them down to a very granular spot, and be able to come to a conclusion subject to the leader's approval, I mean, that is remarkable. I mean, U.S.-China negotiations tend to go on for months and years without results, but I have to say, too, that President Trump played a role in this. We had a call with him last night. We had specific guidance from him. We shared it with our Chinese counterparts. And without his leadership and the leverage he provides, we would not have been able to conclude the deal today.
Yes, as Ambassador Greer said, that the getting to this framework was made possible by President Trump and the high regard that President Trump has for Party Chair Xi. So when the leaders have mutual respect, then the delegations have mutual respect. And as Ambassador Greer said, we were in substantial contact with President Trump last night and then again today.
Mr. President, will there be another round of trade talks?
Of course there will.
In November?
We haven't set a date yet, but I would imagine in the coming weeks.
Did you talk about Huawei with the Spanish government, about our contracts with Huawei, the Chinese company, that you are not happy about?
We had breakfast with the Spanish government today, and we talked about a variety of economic issues.
Does that include Huawei?
Is there any kind of the highest level meeting from President Xi is being had from in the near future?
I don't think either the ambassador or myself want to get out ahead of the leaders. They'll be speaking on Friday, so that's for them to decide.
Did the topic of export controls come up?
The topic of export controls did come up. Obviously, we always raise it with respect to things like rare earth minerals and magnets. The Chinese, just like they have for many years, they always raise export controls, sanctions, tariffs, the whole list. We've essentially deferred discussion of those kinds of things to another time. We were very focused on TikTok and making sure that it was a deal that is fair for the Chinese and completely respects U.S. national security concerns. And that's the deal we reached. And of course, we want to ensure that the Chinese have a fair investment environment in the United States, but always that U.S. national security comes first.
Did you discuss any more details about the meeting with Spanish counterparts, Huawei or trade or any other specific aspects you can talk about?
Yeah, it was a very ranging discussion. We gave them an update on the state of the U.S. economy, which is going very well thanks to President Trump. We received their views on trade, the European economy, and how the Spanish-U.S. relationship can be strengthened. We were told that Spain is opening a trade office in Houston, Texas, which we were very happy about.
And we talked about the progress of the U.S.-EU trade deal, which brings great stability to both of our countries. We talked about Spain and how the United States has a trade surplus with Spain, which is a hallmark of a good, healthy trade relationship. So we commended them for that.
Spain is building ever stronger economic ties with China. What risks do you see in that relationship with Spain?
Well, any kind of agreement that we have with another country, or in this case with the European Commission, we want to make sure that the benefits of that agreement are between the U.S. And the EU, and Spain as part of that. So obviously anytime we have a deal, we want to make sure that other countries aren't used as a jumping off point for, Chinese trade, for example. If we're going to trade with China, which we will, want to have a deal with China. If we're going to have a deal with the EU about EU-US trade, we want it to cover US-EU trade.
Any more reasons?
Did you also discuss about purchasing Russian oil? So U.S. requested China stop to purchase Russian oil.
It was mentioned, but not a centerpiece of the discussion.
Anti-money laundering was on the agenda. Do you anticipate any lowering of the fentanyl tariffs or anything on that matter?
Well, anti-money laundering is different than the importation of precursor drugs. The money laundering is the result of fentanyl sales, and both the People's Republic of China's government and the U.S. government and citizens are hurt by the money laundering. The money laundering cadres are actually the offspring of groups that are evading China's capital controls, and they have now morphed into money laundering for the Mexican drug cartels. So we discussed ways that we could work together, and the Chinese delegation was very keen to work with us. It was an area of extreme agreement.
And what about the
What
fentanyl
about
tariffs?
the tariff
Sorry.
Well, of course that came up. There was some discussion on where we stand. As you know, right now we have a 90-day pause in effect with respect to U.S. tariffs on China and Chinese severe controls on rare earth minerals. We have been renewing that pause periodically. The current pause is set to expire November 10th. We're certainly open to considering further action there. If the talks continue in a positive direction, the United States is receiving rare earths much better than they were before. However, there's still work to be done there.
Did you talk about NVIDIA?
We discussed the poor timing of the NVIDIA investigation the day of these talks.
How are the Fed interviews going?
I think we'll wait till we're back on U.S. soil to talk about that. One thing I will say is that I'm respecting the Fed's quiet period, which they have before every meeting, and so it's convenient for me to be here. So no current Fed officials are interviewed during the Fed quiet period.
Any more details about the TikTok deal that you'd like to share with us?
I think we'll wait for it to be confirmed by the leaders.
Can we say we have got another extension with TikTok with Chinese companies? Another extension?
September 17th.
But on that point, we believe we have an agreement. It's just subject to the leaders' approval. So if you need to extend it by some period of time just to get it signed, etc., that's one thing. But we're not going to be in the business of having repetitive extensions. We have a deal. If there's some extension needed just to get it signed, etc., that's one thing. But there's just no ongoing extensions.
It would not have been extended without a framework.
Any other international politics issues you have talked about this time? About Ukraine, Russia?
We tried. We had a full menu for 2 days of talks.
Thank you very much. Can you summarize the talk with some key words this time?
Respectful, wide-ranging, in-depth. Any more words from you, Ambassador Group?
Productive.
I think that's just about it for time, guys. We can take one last question if anybody has one.
Do we have a time frame for TikTok? Do we know the next few hours? Might we get some kind of release? Any more details? Will it remain under Chinese, or is it going to switch to U.S. ownership? Any more details that you can give us there?
Well, I think the framework is for it to switch to U.S. controlled ownership. But again, I'm not going to get ahead of the leaders' call on Friday. We have a framework. They'll have to confirm the deal.
Great. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. If you have any additional questions, please send them to the U.S. Embassy Madrid. Thanks very much.